Here I am again, and this time I want to talk a little bit about what is present-centered supervision and what that space means to me. I love supervision. It's a space. The word that comes to mind is a Greek word that means temenos, that is temenos. And I'm aware it has spiritual connotations which might be a cringing reaction that might be brought up within you. But for me, it's a place, temenos means temple, essentially. And I truly see it as a sacred space. It's a space where we give ourselves full permission and allow to live the moment-to-moment unfolding of the conversation. It's like living in the razor's edge, in a way. It's a space where, playfully and lovingly, we expose the tendency of the conditioned wired mind, what I call the hive mind, to get drawn into safety and comfort in knowing, in assuming what's going on for the client, assuming what the next session will be about. It's a step into the unknown. When we strip the layers of the conditioning, we are left with an innate sense of truth and wisdom that effortlessly arises in the space. Supervision is very important, that it's a practice where it's embodied. It can allow all the expression of the body, not just the sharpness of the intellect and the capturing of what might be happening in the space between client and supervisee through words. It might be symbols, archetypes. It might be images through the different expression, depending how you're learning and how you're processing the world. I am integrated in this empty space and allowing myself to mold the ways that are incorporated in the work between us. So if you're into creativity, we can play and explore and use the body. I offer walk and talk supervision for people who learn through movement. And it's that parallel of the stuckness and the introduction of movement in whichever ways that feels appropriate in the moment. This is where new information and new transformation comes in. And quite often I was trained, let me say, on the Hawkins and Schott integrative model to supervision, which was developed something like 25 years ago, I think, 30. And of course, it's ever unfolding and developing. It's an integrative model. It's got 7 different modes and eyes through which we can look into the situation. And I guess I have an affiliation into the modes that are looking into the here and now relationship. There is a real magic in how the answers are evident if we allow enough silence and enough slowing down, and we have faith and trust for the answers to emerge. Quite often, supervisees might come and might have absorbed, identified with things that were projected into them from the clients. And that might manifest as stuckness in the process or in the therapeutic relationship, or as bodily expressions of strong reactions and feelings towards the clients. I practice from a radical, trusting place. There's no other way for me to practice, but fully trust that whatever you bring has a real deep reason and might not be clear in the moment, and that's okay. Uncertainty is certainly the only thing we can be certain about. And I find that working in this way, the truth and the inner wisdom that's within you, it's a quality of your unique self, the true nature of who you are, is coming forth. And for that, we need a mind that is willing and open to unlearn all the habituated ways of knowing and assuming. So we're meeting you where you are. You are at the core of my attention. And I have blind trust that nurturing you and looking after you and holding all of you will inevitably have an impact on the client. Often the contractions, and I call them contractions because energetically speaking, it feels like that when something isn't moving. It's like something wants to come through, that the relationship with the client has felt a bit stagnant. And that's what the supervision offers, the space to really move through that stuckness. Not by doing or managing the stuckness. We welcome the stuckness and the intelligence within it, but by making sure we don't get in the way. By allowing ourselves to get out of the way of knowing, the answers emerge. And sometimes we may identify, we project from a place that I'm practicing. I take, I guess I work on the assumption, you could say, that the clients who come to you are the clients that you need in any given moment. You as my supervisor will be the supervisor that I will need in any moment that you come through my door, to highlight and mirror any projections in my process so that I can deepen in that sense of inquiry and the true essence of who I am. So it works on the assumption, and it requires, I guess, a lot of courage and faith as well to really dive into the psyche and really, with a lot of curiosity and playfulness, who can explore, who can play. And through that playful exploration, you will know what the answer is. You will know what the emergent transformation that's taking place before your eyes. And quite often supervisees will go back to their sessions and they will come back to me then and say, oh, Anne, you wouldn't believe, after we had our session, I went with a client and they talked about this thing that they had brought in supervision, which was clarified, but it was at the edge of awareness of the client. And just by shining the light of awareness through our space, our relationship is so significant. It carries so much wisdom and messages of what might be happening as a mirror parallel process. Oh, and I love catching out these unconscious parallel processes. There's always parallel processes happening. Because as human beings, we are on an ongoing journey of removing projections. And we project at all times. We project at all times. So how much can we meet the moment for what is? That's what present-centered supervision is about. Meeting the client, meeting the next moment with fresh eyes, openness, and curiosity. To reveal the innate wisdom that's within you, the innate knowing of how to be with the room, the innate trust in your capacity to hold all of your client's parts fearlessly and with tender heart and clarity. So the model that I was trained on was very relational, very systemic, is embedded within specific social contexts. And so I'm bringing in my awareness of my context as a mother, as a woman, as a Greek immigrant in the UK, and we have an open, transparent conversation how our systems are at play with the systems of the client and where they're located. And often arriving at a place that really recognizing we really are not separate. We might have individual expressions of our uniqueness and in our journeys, but really we're not separate. So, it's hard to describe. It's best to experience. I offer the first session for free because it's important we establish resonance. So if this is a message that appeals to you, I'd love to have your questions. I'd love to hear from you. And if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you for listening. Bye now.